Hello and welcome to The Lucky Roll, an eclectic channel for eclectic games. Now today we're going to do a bit of a comparison between Gloomhaven
and Star Wars Imperial Assault.
Now these are both pretty epic dungeon crawlers, They're the top ones in the market right now. And myself, Sean, and
I'm Tony.
We just happen to be playing these games at the same time.
Every week. We're lucky enough to get the time to do that.
So, like on Monday nights we're playing Gloomhaven, and on Thursday nights, we're playing Imperial Assault.
Yes.
So we just thought, why not talk about the two of them? So
sure.
We'll tell you what. We'll take it down to basics. We'll look at, say, the two games are on the shelf.
Mm-hmm. If you were to buy a game,
what
see it on the shelf.
What's appealing? What stands out?
Obviously, the Star Wars franchise. You're going to see it. The IP. Everyone knows what Star Wars is. You're going to be drawn to the Darth Vader on the box. It's a real great action scene. It has Fantasy Flight. Fantasy Flight are very good. Gloomhaven, though, it's completely unique IP. Nobody heard of Gloomhaven before this.
No, it's brand new. It's it had a very successful Kickstarter, but otherwise it's just a kind of another fantasy universe.
Yeah.
And it's by Cellofair Games, which is
it's
basically
just Isaac Childers, the designer. Yeah.
It's the man himself. So
it's purely independent.
This is like an independent, successful wet dream, if you know what I mean. That it clicked.
Success story, yeah, really.
And that's the big boys, basically. Fantasy Flight taking on the top IP brand. So I don't know, if you're looking at the two of them in a store shelf window, you're probably going to go for Star Wars, I'd say.
Of course.
Because it's...
But, you'd be intimidated by the size of the box anyway. Look at it, it's giant.
Oh, this thing...
Huge, gigantic monstrosity.
When I bought this game, it actually had a weight warning in the shop. You were not allowed to carry this if you had a weak heart or if you couldn't lift more than 30 kg or something like that. It is a big, heavy feckin' game.
Yeah.
Whereas Star Wars Imperial Assault it's grand. So the next thing is story.
Yeah, in the Imperial Assault. Well, in a galaxy far, far away, the rebels are obviously taking on the Empire. They're trying to take down the Empire as much as possible and do as much damage as they can. And basically, that's the story. It's not much more than that.
Well, it is it's its own unique story. You have a new villain called General Weiss who kind of talks about it, but what I like about it is it's an addition to it.
It's kind of a side story to the whole thing.
It is because it's the unique missions. Like the characters have their own missions.
Oh yeah.
There's you can get booster packs.
There's a lot of emergent story in it. Where you can draw your character's side mission, and everyone goes yeah, let's do that character side mission. It's great.
It is when you're doing the mission to try and recruit Han Solo, or the mission to recruit I nearly called him Mark Hamill, Luke Skywalker.
Yes.
Those are great, but you lose track of the original story.
That's right. Yes, I think the side missions and all of that, and when you get those green cards that you really look for, they're really the highlights of the story.
Yeah,
but as you say, the main campaign plot is almost non-existent, really.
It's interesting because
map to map,
You do, yeah. You go to map to map. What's interesting about it is that if you win a map, if you're rebels and you win, the story goes on one tangent.
That is the biggest pro for the story in this game, where there is a branching path depending on whether you win or you lose.
Yeah.
And the game can really.
So if you're someone that's really good at keeping kind of tabs on the story, which we've forgotten tracks of the story because we spend more fun playing the kind of the side missions and kind of goofing around.
It's a lot of fun just playing.
You do lose track of the side story. The story in Gloomhaven.
Yeah.
It's what I like about Gloomhaven is it's incredibly immersive. We actually have no idea. Yeah. We've no idea what the main story is yet. We've been playing this.
Still exploring, and we still don't know.
We're learning the universe. We've been playing this game a lot, and we've played a lot of the main missions. We've played some of the side missions, and we're still just us. And that's something I really like because there's hints about something bigger coming in, but we haven't seen it yet.
Yeah. We've just scratched the surface.
And it's kind of hard to talk about the story of this because we haven't come across it yet. But to me, that's brilliant. If you know what I mean. Mm-hmm. It's just a universe, and you're there. Whereas in Imperial Assault, you've a reasoned death at the very start. There's a purpose.
There's the rebels versus the Empire.
That's it. Go exactly. And the story goes off in different ways. With this one though, you're there, and
there is a sense of being in the universe and like what's coming next, like
yeah.
what's there, yeah.
You're looking for a purpose, and to me that is incredible. It's like kind of to throw in a computer game analogy, Morrowind. You played the game of Morrowind for a long time before the main quest came along, and you stumbled upon it. This has the same kind of aspect, whereas this is, again, the computer game analogy. This would be more like an open-ended RPG. That's more of a linear RPG.
Oh yeah, true. I can see
so
that. Yeah.
It's
more linear. This feels because there's far more choices of missions in this.
Yeah,
and you don't know where each one is going to go.
And
we have 5 missions open to us now at this point, whereas it's just the one choice. We have a choice for the side mission of 2, and that's about it when we get the side missions in Imperial Assault. For mission to missions, one mission can unlock 2, but you can also go back to for instance, the crypts, or you can help the city watch, or you can go exploring, help the Inox or whatever.
It really depended on the makeup of the people as well, because like there's 4 of us playing this, and one person, for whatever reason, he just keeps defaulting to evil. So, well, game time. So
for Imperial Assault, anyway, right? It says 1 to 2 hours on the back of the box.
Is that true?
Well, judging by the game we had last time, our latest game, definitely not.
Yeah.
Depending on how much the DM is willing to throw at you, it can really slog the game down. If he throws waves and waves of guys at you,
well, yeah,
take your while past getting to the objectives.
Most missions are kind of round based, so you have a finite amount of time.
The time limited rounds are they're good in that regard because they'll give you a specific time limit. They
force you to be aggressive as well. You have to get it done. Like, I mean, a byproduct we're saying is from the film itself, stay on target.
True, yeah.
Where like the temptation is always there to go off and get a treasure chest or whatever thing like that.
Yeah,
but it's only if it's kind of convenient. A lot of the time, you barely have enough time to complete the mission, and when you're doing missions like that, you can get 2 or 3 of them done a night easily.
Yeah, you can definitely get multiple missions done in one sitting.
Except if you get a mission that has no time limit.
Yes.
Like Luxury Cruiser was the one, like, I let you...
Yeah, there was just a corridor full of stormtroopers, like bodies just piled up in the corridor.
It was kind of like an early game side mission that we played late game, and Darren had all the threat, which means he could bring in lots of reinforcements. Darren is the Imperial player, by the way.
Yeah.
And, like, we were very powerful, so we were mowing them down.
Threat that he was able to fill the corridor with stormtroopers and other enemies. But we were just sitting back, just tearing into them, just decimating them. And it took forever.
It did. It actually became a kind of a grind. It was like trench warfare. So that was the only mission that took way too long, and it was a side mission. But aside from that, it's pretty good and pretty nifty in terms of game time.
Pretty streamlined game, yeah. To be fair.
Gloomhaven, it says 30 minutes per player, but so 4 players should be 2 hours. I don't think so.
That's been very generous. It would take 3 hours per mission, I'd say. If you're kind of an analysis person who and we're tactical players.
We're very tactical players.
We want to make out our best moves.
It's because of the way the game plays. It's very kind of planning. There is a time limit. You have a deck of cards, and as you play the game, your cards kind of dwindle, and the more they dwindle, the less moves you have. So it forces kind of aggressive play or proactive play on you in another way.
It's really brilliant design in that regard.
It is. It's superb.
Every player is on a time limit just because of their hand size.
I mean, my character would be the Orchard Spellweaver, has a couple of very powerful magics, but I can only use them once or twice per game, and that's it. Whereas a powerful character in Imperial Assault...
Yeah, like my character now, Gideon, the commander, he is so powerful every round. He gets to use his most powerful ability every round. It feels like compared to Gloomhaven, where you have to plan ahead when you want to use that real powerful card,
Yeah.
Whereas in this Imperial Assault, you can kind of spam it every round,
So that's it. You've a higher turnover of gameplay because of that. You're not afraid to use your best moves. With this, you've no idea what's around the next corridor, so you'd hesitate frivolously using your best moves, and
hold back.
It stretches the game out.
Yeah.
But
it feels great. There's a great sense of tension in that regard.
Absolutely. I mean, if we were looking at it in the terms of a meal, we're savouring every bite of this, whereas we're kind of, not that we're wolfing it down, but you've one lunch hour to eat it, and that's it. get out. You know.
It's a great gourmet burger.
Yeah.
This is like a nice 4-course meal.
It is in a French restaurant. Yeah. Set up for Star Wars. Let's just practical.
That's a good question because because of the one versus many aspect, right? Because there's a DM right behind everything. There's the Imperial player. We can't really share the layout to anybody, so we can't really help him out. But he can call out the pieces, you know, and we can help him speed it up in that way. But it's fast enough where we can arrive and sit down, and we can set it up on as soon as we arrive.
Yeah,
but Imperial Assault.
The bulk of the work is done by the Imperial player, though, because they're the one that set the tone. They're the one that kind of place the map tiles, because they have to see what the mission is. They know what's coming, whereas the Rebel players have to guess at what's coming.
Exactly. There's a lot involved in that.
So it would take, I'd say, 20 minutes. I mean, we're getting good at setting it up.
Setting it up? I don't know, 10, 15
yeah,
minutes.
it's grand because...
to get all the tiles sorted, because you have a nice system where you have all the tiles in their banks sorted out nicely, so...
Gloomhaven, on the other hand, it was initially a nightmare to set up.
Yeah.
It took a very long time because there's a lot in it. Yeah. But we're getting better at it again because if you get either of these games, I would recommend that you get baggies. Because a separate bag for every player, so that you're not kind of pulling everything out and going through the decks to see what you have and what you don't have.
So you can separate your deck that you've created yourself.
Because when you're leveling up in Star Wars Imperial, Assault, like you get a lot of stuff. You get different equipment, different talents, different doohickeys. Yeah. If you throw them all into the one spot, perfect. Same thing with the Imperial player, you know.
Yeah.
You're just taking out the bag, whip them.
You need to sort out your own stuff. It's great to have them all organized here, yeah.
But that means you can only have one campaign going at a time. Gloomhaven, you would only have one campaign going at a time because it's just too dense.
It's too much of an investment.
But it's still the same problem. You can separate the decks. Like, you have cards that once they're used, they're gone, they're thrown away, but you still need to set up the shop. You need to set up the future cards. You need to set up the tiles.
It has to be managed throughout the entire game. Like, one player has to manage the monster deck.
Yeah.
And all of that.
You have to decide the difficulty. You have to work out the maths. You also have to kind of work out your loadout, because every player character, and it's one of the strengths of this game, can change their attack styles or their techniques before they start it. Yeah. But we're spending 20 minutes on our own just going through our decks, refamiliarizing ourselves before we can start.
We're still learning the characters in Gloomhaven. We've only scratched the surface. In this one, everyone is almost intimately familiar with each other's hero. We can say, "Oh, you can blast shot over there, and you can command over here." In this one, we still don't even know our own characters' abilities to the fact where we can make the most of them.
I think that's a credit, but even just in terms of setup, though, this takes about an hour. That takes 10 minutes.
So yeah, this game definitely comes from the Hero Quest line of games.
Yeah, it is. Like, you've got a DM and you kind of figures working, manipulating around the board to do it. It's like 3 or 4 generations of it down.
Yes, you can definitely see the influence. Whereas this game, Gloomhaven, then is like its own unique design altogether. Nothing's been done like that before.
It is, because you know what I like about Hero Quest is it has its generic characters. You have barbarian, you have archer, things like that.
Yeah.
This has a weird eclectic mix of things.
True. Yeah, and
when you're picking a character, you have no idea what you're getting. Yeah. I mean, when we picked a character, we just looked at the symbol. Okay, I have no idea what it is. I'll take that symbol. It looks cool. I ended up with this thing called the Orchid Spellweaver, which initially I didn't like because I'm not a magician type character, but it was good because it forced me out of my comfort zone to play a magical character. Yeah, you had what did you pick? The Tinkerer, yes.
I just like because it has the gear on it, and I kind of I like a kind of characters that are inventive, and they've got a lot of gadgets and stuff. And yeah, this character definitely delivers on that. He's got a cool crossbow, and he's got a flamethrower.
Yeah.
And I look getting into the character like, I'm gonna blast up my flamethrower.
And the characters, there's much more to them, if you know what I mean. It's not just a typical generic type. So this is one of the reasons Gloomhaven is very interesting. Imperial Assault, I mean, like, they're all brand new characters, but they're generic. You have your Jedi, you have your warrior, you have your rogue,
Yeah, they're
or
kind
smuggler,
of
sorry.
derivative of the Star Wars heroes. You know, really, they're the Han Solo knockoff. Because all the heroes all of the characters are original kind of that you play.
Like, you know what you're getting. Like, if you're playing a Wookiee, you're obviously going to be playing a big melee character. Like, if you're playing a Jedi, you've got a lightsaber. They're going to be cutting things.
Yeah, and there's no other way. I mean, if you're going to play the Wookiee character, you're going to be running in melee, hacking things, right? There's no alternative way to play him.
So you kind of know what you're doing in it. But whereas with this one, there's the Craig Beast or the Cragheart is what Eric is playing, and
he can do whatever. He can change his play style
completely.
He can be melee, he can be ranged, he can be support.
It's amazing how much versatility there is in that character. And when you're just looking at him, he looks like the Thing from Fantastic Four.
All right, yeah.
You know, we thought he was actually a dumb character, but he's actually quite a.
His race is actually very intelligent. Yeah,
so that's something that's great and refreshing about Gloomhaven is that it's all new, or it all shakes up the formula. You know. So, value for money. To be honest, it's not really a fair question because they're both actually very good value for money.
Yeah, you get a lot in the box for Imperial Assault, but
there's two games in it, like.
Yeah, there's a skirmish as well, which we didn't mention actually. We haven't even played the skirmish, but you can play a skirmish game in this as well as the co-op campaign. So that's a good value proposition out of the box, really. And the campaign is good. It's good length.
Like we're playing about 8 to 10 weeks or something like that, and you know it's kept us going. We're still in the first gameplay.
Yeah.
Gloomhaven, on the other hand,
it's kettle of fish altogether.
Like we're playing this longer than Imperial Assault.
Yeah, we've barely scratched the surface.
And like we haven't even kind of. Like
we've leveled up once, or twice,
you know,
and we haven't opened any secret envelope or anything, or
we haven't even come across what the main quest is yet, you know. But we're playing it for forever, and we're loving it. Don't get me wrong, but it's incredible. I mean, there's 90 dungeons in this.
Yeah, there's so much in the box,
and there's a whole load of additional dungeons. Now we're playing it once a week, 52 weeks in the year. It's going to take us about 2 years to play this game.
Yeah,
without any
years for just the one campaign in the box.
And like we're averaging around one campaign a night or one dungeon a night because of just the length of it.
That's fair.
This thing, if we keep playing it the way we were playing it, we'll get the campaign done in the next 2 weeks.
Yeah.
And if we play it again with the blister packs, it'll be the same thing. Yeah.
Now that comes to the thing where if you want to keep playing your new content, you have to buy the expansions.
Yep.
You know, if you want to keep up with what Gloomhaven is giving, you have to get the campaign expansions and the blister packs as well.
I mean, like, don't get me wrong, the expansions are good. Like there's Return to Hoth, there's Twin Shadows, there's the Jabba the Hutt, there's on the Empire, really awesome. But you're paying for it. Mm-hmm. You know, so if you wanted to collect everything in Imperial Assault, it would cost you a lot of money, especially the blister packs, things like that.
It costs a lot to get everything. Whereas Gloomhaven, it's one and done. You know, everything in it.
Yeah, everything is in it. No, I mean, I think he's talking about an expansion, but I mean, he can take his time because, like, we got 2 years worth of content to get through first. You know.
Yeah.
It's but no, it's an unfair comparison because that is good value for money. That is very good value for money.
It is.
This just blows it out of the ballpark.
Yes, for a cooperative campaign, this is so good.
It is. It just happens to be David versus Goliath in this kind of comparison. Like,
but so do you want to go over the pros and cons of?
Yes.
Well, I just wanted to mention really that we felt that in Imperial Assault, it can feel unbalanced towards one side or the other. You know, as you go on, for instance, in our game now, we're far more powerful on the Imperial side, so it can feel a bit too easy for us. And there's no real way of fixing that really, other than like house ruling it. In Gloomhaven, there's an adjustable difficulty. Yeah, there is a difficulty setting to this. Yeah. So in 2 years' time, if we're crazy and we want to play it again, we can up the difficulty, like a computer game, which really hard, could be great fun because we want to be experts at that stage. Yeah, exactly. You want to revisit it, but if it's too hard, you can lower the difficulty if you want as well. So yeah. It's customizable in that regard.
It is, and because it's us against the game, and you don't know what's coming next. There's a nice discovery to it, whereas Imperial Assault, after 2 weeks of playing it, or after your second or third game, you got it.
Basically,
You know?
yeah. It is so easy to get anybody into this game, really, if they're interested in the IP or dungeon crawling. It's streamlined. It's very fast. It's very you can get in and play, right?
Yeah, that's for casual players. If you people who've never played a board game before, they'll be able to play Imperial Assault.
Yeah. Gloomhaven now is heavy.
Yeah. Heavy
game, right? There's a level of depth to it that you have to get used to.
Heavy, literally and figuratively.
Literally and figuratively, exactly. Yeah. There's no beating around the bush. Gloomhaven is a heavy game.
So if you've got a casual gamer coming in for the first time, this is a bad one to introduce them with. Like this is deep end of the pool.
Yeah.
Whereas Imperial Assault starts in the shallow end, but it goes towards the deep end. It's not.
Yeah, you can kind of. The level of tactics can go quite deep as well. Like we're really getting into the intricacies of the moves you can make in this one now. For instance, players taking multiple moves a turn, reacting to things. So there's a good bit of complexity if you want to go that route.
And you're learning as you play as well, because like you get more powerful as you level up, and you get to know each other. So I mean, Darren knows our moves, and we know Darren's moves.
Yeah.
So we're constantly trying to out innovate and second guess each other.
Yeah.
And it's great that way.
Yeah, and the one versus many aspect as well. You know, you might like playing versus a player rather than versus just the cards, just the AI. You know.
Yeah.
I like that feeling of playing versus another human being, you know, sometimes. But
it is. I mean, like the sense of satisfaction after you succeed in a dungeon in Gloomhaven is there. It's good. You get a good sense of achievement. But you can like
really rub it in their face.
Oh, we can slag poor old Darren for about 2 or 3 days afterwards.
Funny,
It's fun. It's the people you play with. But
exactly.
I think with Gloomhaven, you'd want serious players, or not. Like if you have accomplished or serious or regular or veteran players. Mm-hmm. It's a fantastic experience as well. Like
it's a great experience of a game. So the level of tension is really good because it's come down to the wire. It's so many of the games.
Yeah,
and that feeling of achievement you get.
I wouldn't buy Gloomhaven unless you have 2 or 3 other people who are on a par with you.
You need some people who are.
You need a good team.
Quite invested.
Yeah, you need a good team and people who would be happy to meet up regularly. It's not an impulse buy.
Whereas you could probably jump in this mid-campaign with anybody, really.
You know, and even if someone didn't turn up on the night, if you're doing a side mission, you know, you could play the character for them.
Yeah, true enough. Well,
whereas, we've missed 1 or 2 weeks. Yeah, but like, I get over it, if you know what I mean.
Yeah.
I get over it, but in Gloomhaven, we've actually 1 or 2 weeks when we were missing a person, we decided not to play because we're in it together.
We're that invested, you know. I mean, we're all exploring new things. We're all discovering new things in the game. So we don't want people to miss out, you know. So
yeah, no, absolutely. The cons it's the same thing. It's the depth is the kind of the cons of it. It's not a casual game.
It's a pro and a con, really, depending. But yeah, definitely not one for casual gamers at all.
But yeah, no. If I was to recommend someone who didn't have it, if you're new to games, get that one. If you're an old hat, this one.
Oh, yeah. If you want to start dungeon crawling, this is nothing better than that, really.
Without a doubt, that or Descent. So, but I think Star Wars.
I think this is a better system than Descent. All things I've heard.
I heard that actually. That it's like they took what worked in Descent and improved it.
It's an upgrade, yeah.
The immersion. Every new dungeon is unique because you have a battle goal or you have your own secret objective before you start it. Every character in Gloomhaven draws 2 cards and they pick one, and it can be anything from being a pacifist in a round where you don't kill anything, being hyper aggressive where you're the first through the door, or you're just being greedy and looting everything.
Yeah.
It's brilliant because it's secret, so players are acting out of kilter, so you kind of have to guess what they're at and whether you want to help them or not. And if you get this battle goal, it helps you kind of level up and perk.
It is good.
It's a lovely little touch. Adds a lot to the game. Star Wars.
You know what you're doing. You know what you're in for every scenario. You're in to defeat the Empire. You're the rebels, and you're gonna beat up some stormtroopers. You know, there's nothing gonna sway you away from that, other than someone might want to get a chest, or someone might want to race ahead and finish an objective first. But to the end of the day, they're still just completing the objective.
It's like total cooperative versus your own self-interests, and it works. So what's the phrase you kind of...
Oh yeah, this has a lot more emergent gameplay.
That's it. Yeah.
Yeah, the emergent style, because you can change how you play the game, naturally, which is a brilliant little feature he added in.
Well, that's it. Like, I mean, if you're playing a melee character and suddenly you draw the pacifist battle goal, it's
something like that.
It forces
really
you completely to go around in it.
And as well as that, there's the life goals for each of the characters.
Yeah, that is. Now we won't say anything because there's big spoilers in the life goals, because I don't know what Tony's life goal is. He's no idea what mine is. Yeah. We don't know what anyone else's is.
That's it.
But
just to say though that it's a great way of giving you something to a personal objective. For every mission, you have I'll have to watch out for this because I want to get this. And every time if you complete it, then you unlock something new.
Yeah.
And none of us have done that yet.
And you retire a character as well.
You retire your character after that, and that's a brilliant mechanic too.
This is all good stuff we can't wait to get to, but it'll probably take 6 months,
Yeah, we'll have to get back to you when we've gotten a much farther into the game. Really.
Yeah, in 6 months' time, if the world is still here and not covered in plastic.
We'll see.
We might as well sum it up though with one last question.
Mm-hmm.
The house is on fire. You can only save one game.
Oh Jesus, that's a hard question now.
What game are you saving?
Well, Gloomhaven has only slowed me down, to be honest with you.
Okay, maybe.
The house is on fire.
Okay, the house is on fire. Oh, the house is on fire.
I'd have to go for something lighter, like Bonanza or something.
Okay, I didn't expect you to use practical logic. We'll go for. You can only walk away with one game.
Okay, and I have a forklift to bring with me.
Yeah, exactly.
I will. I have to go Gloomhaven though, because there's so much depth involved. There's so much to explore and everything, and the unlockable characters, and there's so much to explore and dive into the box. When you get it.
Yeah,
brilliant. I love the game.
I'd be the same. There's just so much in it. It's epic in every way imaginable. It has a solo player aspect, which Imperial Assault now does have a solo player.
Oh, right.
So if I was caught in a desert island, I'd be sick of Imperial Assault after 2 weeks. I'd at least have 2 years to... Well, not 2 years if I was playing it every day. It'd be 200 days to... waiting for my bottle, a message in a bottle to reach someone to help me, But it's... Yeah, it's Gloomhaven. But if I was a man with kids, and I wanted to play the stuff with the kids...
Oh, for sure. Yeah.
Without a doubt.
It's way easier to play.
If I wanted to play with more people, Imperial Assault.
Yeah, the extra player count in this is quite good as well. This goes 1 to 5. That goes up to 4 players only. So.
But if you and Darren and Eric disappear tomorrow and I never see you again, this game will probably disappear with you, if you know what I mean. Because
you're so invested with it with the group, yeah.
With the group, but it's a game that works best with your peers if your peers are very much on the same wavelength as you.
Yeah.
If you're trying to introduce this one to new people, or if you're thinking, okay, I can get my wife or my husband or my significant half into this, and they're reluctant into games, not a chance.
Well,
not a chance.
Give it a go, but you probably have a better shot with Imperial Assault, to be honest with you.
So just to wrap up, this is really just our impressions of the games. I mean,
we're very brilliant games.
Absolutely.
We love both of them.
We're just very lucky to be able to play them kind of side by side with the same people. So we're hoping to do more videos like this where we just get to compare things because it's fun.
Just talk. Yeah, I had a good time here.
So did I. I mean, the world is your oyster in terms of board games out there because there's a whole heap of them.
Oh yeah.
And we get to try different ones all the time. So
we might talk about Twilight Imperium 4 even.
Oh yeah.
If we get a spare day off, everyone.
You mean a spare bank holiday weekend off?
Holiday, yeah.
But there's so much depth to these games. I mean, we'll definitely talk about Gloomhaven again in the future as we get to different parts. We'll definitely talk about more aspects of Imperial Assault with the expansions.
The other expansions, yeah. That'd
be great. No, we're lucky in that there's so much out there. We're spoiled for choice, and
definitely.
We're looking forward to kind of talking more, comparing more, and just enjoying it and sharing it with yourselves. So this is Sean.
I'm Tony.
From The Lucky Roll. If you liked this video, please like, subscribe, all that good YouTube stuff. And until next time, good luck and God bless.
See you guys.